Hello and welcome to the Parenting Tools podcast. I'm Jason.
And I'm Jordan. This is the podcast where myself and Jason talk about our lives, our kids, and what it's like to be a parent in 2023, baby.
Oh, I actually can't believe it's 2023.
I was on the phone the other day to the GP to get our daughter in, and they said, "What year was she born?" And I was thinking, it wasn't last year, but last year was 2021. So, but she's not that old. And I just completely, I just went, I don't know. She went, "How old is she?" I said, 1. And she told me what year she was born. I completely forgot we were in 2023.
Jord, how's it all going?
Good. Can't complain. How about you?
Oh, good. I'm not complaining. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to.
No complaints. It's a complaint-free zone.
Complaint-free zone. I'm fishing for ideas.
Oh,
I need ideas from this straight off the bat.
Cast your net.
Yeah, I am looking for ideas, not just to save money. I've got 2 full afternoons a week by myself with my 2.5-year-old daughter. I need craft ideas.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. I need bulletproof ones.
It gets pretty rough, does it?
No, I'm just not very good. I'm not very functional. For example, you've seen slime.
Yep.
Kids love slime.
Kids love the
I
slime.
thought, brilliant. Let's make some slime. Follow the instructions to a T.
Sounds messy.
And one part of it is you put baking powder in. Apparently it brings it all together. It's the last stage. It's all a bit gloopy, and then you put that in, and it works perfectly.
Binding agent.
It's doing really well. However, it looks like they've not given us enough baking powder. So I thought, I've got some in the cupboard.
Oh, so have you bought a set?
Bought a little set.
Kit?
Yeah, bought a kit. You would assume that
Yep.
they know exactly what to put in the kit. They're the ones selling the kit.
Safe assumption.
Exactly. We've put the glitter in. My daughter's taken much pain to decide what glitter she wants with what colour dye. It was a whole process. It was good. It was a good time-killing activity.
Time killing. It was a fun bonding daddy-daughter activity.
What I mean by that, it wasn't too quick. Like, it was enough time.
Yeah.
Like, it fills the time.
Let's be honest. You've got to kill that time.
You got to kill the time. But she enjoyed it. It was a good process. But it wasn't proper. It was too slimy. You couldn't get out and play with it.
Too slimy.
So, I know. I get some baking powder out the fridge, out the cupboard. And I put just a little bit on. Thought I'd go light to begin with.
A little dusting.
And honestly, as soon as that dust hit the slime, it just began to disintegrate.
Really?
Yeah.
Or just like break apart the slime?
It was like exuding water. It literally began to melt.
It's like the juicy nugget all over again.
And it was weeping. You'd pick it up,
Sad
and it was
slime.
just seeping water out, and you'd squeeze it, and it would get firm for a second, and then it would begin to disintegrate again.
You went off-piste. You got bitten.
I had to take it like out of sight from my daughter because I didn't want to just be like, "You spent all this time making this, and I've destroyed it.
I've ruined it."
So I literally had to hide it. I was like, "What do I do to fix this?" And eventually, it drained as much as it wanted to, and we were left with slime, literally a third the size before I added the ingredients.
Lesson learned. But did Noah enjoy it?
She loved it.
There you go.
She loved it. She did ask Daddy, "Where's my slime gone?" It's gone to a better place, honey.
How much time did this kill asking for a friend?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, got to be more.
Oh, that's
so
long for a toddler.
So my friend says. I think he'd be looking for 3 or 4 hours.
Genuinely, like we've gone hard into the crafts. Like, we have bought all the stuff, the googly eyes, the PVA glue.
Oh, PVA glue.
We are ready at a moment's notice to make some
PVA
crafts.
glue.
And what I've discovered is I'm not very good on the fly. So another time, I went on Pinterest, as you do.
You love Pinterest.
Tried to think of some craft ideas. Found an owl. Thought that looks great. I did it with my daughter. The end result was horrific.
What, the owl?
Yeah.
Not so good.
Either my guidance or her decorating skills. That's a blame.
Blind leading the blind.
Yeah. So I need the listeners' help.
What are the crafts?
Yeah. All the crafts. I need them. I need all the ideas.
What other crafts that you can do? Let us know. You can write to us at Parenting Tools Pod on Instagram and TikTok, or if you're old school and you want to send us an email, you can parentingtoolspod@gmail.com.
If you want to send us a fax, get a computer.
How do you send a fax? Is it phone number?
I'm pretty sure it's a fax machine.
I know, but do you like
To a phone number, yeah.
to a phone number, not an email address?
I think so.
I never sent one.
I'm pretty sure it's... I'm going off texture. I don't know here. I was going to say, I think it's analog. I think it might be, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Analog tech. Let us know at Parenting Tools Pod. So, Jace, one thing I've noticed parents do since being a parent is spelling out words in front of your kids.
Okay.
And that could be, I heard someone do it the other day with a naughty word.
Oh, yeah.
But we do it with things that we know our children like. For example, chips.
Yeah. Oh,
If we're like, oh, we'll get them in bed. Or like, what should we have for tea? Should we get some CHIPS? Or CHIPs? That's what we call them. So, because as soon as he hears the word chips, you'll be like, oh, let's get some chips.
Yeah.
Oh, chips. Like, that's all he'll talk about. Chippies.
Yeah.
Chippies. Oh, some chippies. And it's like, that's all you hear. So you're like, you spell out the word. And I've noticed I'm not very good at spelling. Because I think autocorrect does a lot of the heavy lifting, doesn't it?
It's my nightmare. Someone who's certified dyslexic. Even the way I said that sentence. Words is not my thing.
Words not my thing. But like, yeah, it's like, oh, you know, what you've been doing today? Oh, he watched BUZZ. And it's like, we just spell words around them. Or to the point where we don't even mention his cousin now. Because as soon as you say his name, we're like, oh, can we go to his house? Or is he coming to our house? We're going to have a sleepover. It's like, we just say Z. It's like, oh, we'll take him on Saturday to see Z. So it's not like constantly every day until Saturday. We're going to Z's now. It's like, you just spell stuff out to the point where you just say the first letter.
It's funny because it's like parents have code as well. It's spelling out things which don't even relate to the thing that you're trying to infer, just in case they catch on.
I remember before I had kids, my sister would like do things in private, like away from a little boy. So she'd be like, oh, don't tell Bo. We had a Chinese. And I'm thinking, tell him. He needs to learn that he can't. And now it's like, when he gets to bed, should we get a takeaway? And then like in the morning, you're making sure there is no
evidence.
No evidence. There is no box. If you've had a McDonald's without him, you need to put that M away. There cannot be anything with the golden arches on, because we'd be like, what have you been doing without me? And now I completely understand where my sister was coming from when she was keeping secrets from her 3-year-old.
See, our go-to thing, especially when it comes to food, is, oh, it's got one of your allergies in it. You can't have it. It's got milk in, or egg, or soy. But now she should be fine with that. Up until recently, where I think today my wife was eating a pack of biscuits, not the pack. She was having some biscuits, and my daughter was like,
"Treat yourself.
Can I have one?" And she talks to herself in the third person when she wants something. Can Noah have one? No, they've got your allergies in it. She goes, but I need them.
Oh,
that's new.
I need.
Oh, that's another level of manipulation that I'm not used to yet.
I need it. I need it to survive.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, that's something I've noticed. Spelling out words around the kiddos.
It's funny. I'd love to hear the most bizarre things that you have to spell.
Yeah. We had some friends. Well, I say we've got some friends.
What wrong? Bad spelling bee.
And
I don't know.
And their surname's Pringle.
Oh.
And so and my little boy, it's his favourite crisp, loves a Pringle.
It's got good taste.
And it'd be like, oh, we're running out of, and we'd say their first name. I don't want to out them. Don't want to first name and surname them, because they know who they are, and I think they listen to the pod. But it'd be like, oh, should we get some Stacey and James? And then he'd be there just playing away.
It's brilliant.
I'm like, yeah, get some in.
So I worked out last week. I had, on average, every night, I had 4 hours of sleep
On average?
on average.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that like a 4 hours a night, or was it you had 17 one night and none for the rest?
It was most of them around 3 and 5 hours was the cumulative total. I don't even know if that's a word, and that's probably why, because I had no sleep.
4 hours a night?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And it's also going through one of those things of you're trying to put in routines, but then you have friends over, and if they've got kids, so I had my nephew stay the other night, absolutely gorgeous, like, he's turning 1. That was some special guest, Dan.
Oh, come on, Dan.
Yeah.
Shout out, Dan.
Anyway, but because don't want like to disturb his sleep, it's like any noise that Noah makes, bring into our bed.
Yeah.
The worst thing, because sometimes she sleeps well, sometimes she just kicks me in the head. And one time I woke up and she was lying where my pillow should be.
This bony pillow.
And so I was relegated to the bottom of the bed.
Why's my pillow got a hip?
Anyway, yeah, 4 hours on average for a full 7 days as well.
So what else, so what are the other reasons then?
Illness, hospital trips, nightmares. It was a bad week.
Nightmares. So they're quite frequent.
They have been. I think we talked on last week
Yeah.
about the blood test. Whenever that's been frequent, or she knows there's a doctor's appointment coming up, it tends to flare its head. But that's only been very recent. And actually, we've been. I don't know if you've come across this. It's very new to me. I didn't even know it's a thing. But like children can experience PTSD.
Really?
Yeah. And
well, it makes sense.
so it's one of the things that we're trying to talk to a consultant about, because you can actually get child like therapists. Like if they've experienced PTSD or there's something, obviously people can be trained to actually talk to children.
Yep.
Like obviously we talk to our kids all the time, but there's people that are specially trained to help counsel like literal infants and stuff like that. And so we're trying to gauge at the moment, where's the threshold of, is this just a phase, or is this something that actually we need help on? And so that's a whole new world. But that's one of the main causes we think of, just the lack of sleep at the moment, because she's just getting not scared of like, oh, she's seen something on TV. Like we've been through that phase as well, but this is the kind of fear that we see at the doctors in like the middle of the night. It's like, oh, that's not okay. So bring her into a bed. I haven't got a problem with that. I'll take 4 hours sleep a night if that's the case. Just also goes at the same time when she's being a bit ill. She's also just being a little rat sometimes. All of that to say though, I woke up, I think it was 2 days ago. Same thing happened, had people over, brought her into my bed. From 6 a.m. Until 7:30, she slept with her hands on either side of my face, with her forehead on my forehead.
Oh.
I just thought, oh, that's so lovely. It's like, I'll take 4 hours of sleep for that.
Yeah.
But I won't.
I did that recently where I had to get in, take Luca back to bed. And I was just thinking, this is horrible. Like, it's far too early for this. And then, like, he just cuddled in and went, I love you, Dad. Oh. And I was just like, do you know what? Yeah. I'm all right with this.
They get you, don't they?
Mate. Yeah. Oh, bless her. So is this, like, with the blood test, is it after she's had a blood test, or is it like, are you telling her that there's blood tests coming up? And
no, so it's a relatively new thing. So just for the context, she's had blood tests constantly since she was born.
Yep.
Never was a problem. It was, and still now, she likes to pretend to do blood tests on her dolls. And if you come over, she'll want to do a health check on you, and that will include a blood test. Yeah. So she's not scarred by the mentioning of a blood test. It's just, I think the last 2 that she had, she's become a lot more aware, and I think they hurt a little bit more than she remembers. The old ones hurting, and so I think that's probably the case of actually it's hurt her a little bit, and she doesn't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it's come from. But it's one of those weird things where it's now affecting her days after it's happened, and we're not telling her that she's got more coming up or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't. But it's really hard, like when your kid's ill or something, and trying to find the balance of how long do we leave this, and like where are we out of our depth as parents, which is a really hard thing to admit as well. Like, and especially when something so niche as like that, my immediate reactions are she'll just grow out of it.
Yeah.
But then you can see like she's not coping well with it at all, and so it's just a really bizarre thing of not really sure what's triggered it, but we definitely know she's not just playing up, she's not just being difficult.
Yeah.
Like she's genuinely just struggling with something.
Yeah. I think that's been a challenge for us because my wife and I, we'll do like, if we're ill, we'll do everything we can not to go to the doctors. I think partly because by the time you've got in, whatever it is has gone anyway on its own. And then the other thing is, it's not that serious, so I don't want to bother them. And then with our kids, then it's completely different. You can't do that with kids. I don't want to be that parent that phones a doctor every time there's a cough. But then I don't want to be that parent that leaves it too long.
Yeah.
And kind of puts them maybe in a bit more serious danger than they need to be.
That's honestly because we have actually been in a place where, like a few times, where had we not gone to the doctors, that would have been it. And that's a scary thing. And because my immediate reaction is, I want to avoid the doctor at all costs. But partly, and this is something that I learned through like counselling, it's because I want to avoid the problem exists. And I'd rather just crack on and pretend it doesn't exist and hope it gets better. Whereas my wife is the opposite. She'll want to go to hospital straight away, but then be played with I don't want to waste anyone's time. I don't want it to be nothing. But because we've got the experience of literally like several times of going in and the doctor saying, had you not come in now, this would have been bad. It's like, I'd rather now just go and just see how it is. And like, there's been times, I think I said it the other week, we literally got to A&E and Noah started laughing and she was fine.
Yeah, be more
middle
boring.
of the night. But actually, it was the right thing that we went.
Yeah.
Had that not happened, you just don't know because they can't explain when they're that young.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when that like strep A stuff was kicking off around Christmas time? Our little girl had a cough and she had it for a few weeks and it was, she's got teeth coming in and she's finding herself, she's eating well, but this cough would not go. So eventually phoned the GP. They got us in the same day because baby. And he said, what's the problem? And I just led with, I've got to be honest, I've been scaremongered by the strep A. And he kind of giggled and he appreciated where I was coming from, saying, look, it's just a cough that babies get, but also it's been going on for a while. And he was like, look, you've done the right thing. It is just a cough that, kids get, toddlers get. But he appreciated the dilemma. And like he said that, he said, look, I've been there myself with mine. It's hard in that moment of what's the right thing to do.
And especially like as the younger they are as well. So like I'm on a little forum on Reddit with like the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, and people like often will post photos of their kids going like, should I be worried about this? And every comment from people who've experienced this is like, if you're worried at all, take them straight to hospital. Like don't second guess it, especially if they're like infants. Don't just wait. Like, if it could be something bad, just go. Because the doctors and nurses would rather, like, you come and it not be something bad than actually be something bad and you don't get the help that you need. So it's just one of those things where, like, I'm not saying for a Grey's knee, like, take him to hospital.
Yeah.
But when for me, when I'm in an RN, that's more of a push to go up. I should probably just err on the side of caution and just go for it. But that's something I've had to force myself into because it makes me feel really uncomfortable of walking into A&E with a child who's potentially just hurt their leg. Actually, it's like, that embarrassment. You kind of have to park it and just go.
It is better to be safe than sorry.
100%.
And I think for myself, I think I need to be more on that side rather than, do you know what, she's, especially my daughter, she's teething, she's tired, she's this, she's that, she's been to nursery, especially because with the two of them, they just roll around on top of each other, and it's like whatever the one's got, you're now getting. I think I need to be a bit more. Come on, let's get her checked out rather than chilled out. But
I mean, it's definitely a line, but it's just having been on the worst case scenario side, it's you think sometimes that when it's more than just a cold. In reality, sometimes you don't, and just it's worth getting checked out.
Yeah. Changing gears, Jay, slightly. You have put something on the notes here that has taken my interest.
Oh.
That sounds a bit wrong. When I
can
read
see why it's taking
when I
interest.
read what it is, but we've got Booby Song Part 2 featuring nipples.
So if you're a regular listener of the podcast, you'd have heard that my daughter, once upon a time, made up a boobies song. It just consisted of the words boobies to a rhythmic beat. I don't know if that's right. She used to love singing it around Aldi. What's progressed now is she sings the same song, but instead of singing boobies, it's nipples. And what's funnier is that she will tell strangers, and she'll go, Noah has nipples. Then she'll add on, like daddy.
Poor lass. Because that's the thing before with the booby song. It was, you have boobies. There's only 50%.
Yep.
Now it's a more wide audience.
And she's clocked that it's normal for me to like sleep without a top on, but not for my wife.
Right.
And so that's where it's come from. It's the she's recognised that everyone has nipples, and it's hilarious.
Don't take a swim in anytime soon. Imagine. She won't get anything done.
But yeah, I find it funny, like the songs that she's making up, and she's still doing it where she's making up words as she's singing songs, and when she stumbles upon a word which she shouldn't be saying, like having to keep a straight face and just revert her language to something else.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Mate, kids, man.
But I've been thinking of reasons to go to Switzerland.
Okay.
The flag's a big plus.
Oh, that's got me.
Oh, I butchered the delivery.
No.
But oh man.
Oh, got me. I wasn't expecting it.
I was so nervous before saying that. I was
Were
like,
you?
oh, the tension. Yeah.
Mate, superb.
That's the dad joke of the week.
Oh, come on.
I thought
now.
that would deserve just a flat delivery.
Yeah. Oh. My plan of not laughing at them didn't happen that week.
Did I get that right? Is the Switzerland flag a plus? Is yeah, it is.
Big old plus, yeah.
There we go.
Because I was thinking, yeah, the flag is cool, and then I realised. Have you actually been to Switzerland? Are you looking for reasons to go to Switzerland?
I've never been. I'd happily go.
Mm. We've been. Went to Geneva.
Mm, nice.
I think I mentioned this on the pod once before.
Possibly.
Went up a mountain. It was all downhill from there. No, it was lovely. Switzerland, good chocolate. I think it was wasted on me because I don't like cheese. And there's, Swiss cheese. It's a big thing.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Alps are in Switzerland, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. No, it was let's go to Switzerland for the flag.
For the flag.
Jason, we have had a top tool sent in.
Top
tool.
Yes.
Boom. From international listeners.
International
listeners. So here we go. Here's a name. Here's a name for us. Millard.
Let's have a look. Ooh, I'm going to suggest Malade.
You sound like a Scottish person.
Well, let's see. How do we pronounce your name?
Come at us, Millard. Day. Not quite sure. So Millard is from Vancouver in Canada.
Ooh.
And she's messaged us before saying, do you know those playpens, like in the Rugrats?
Yes.
Their child's got one of those, but will only go in it with like her or her partner.
Oh, okay.
So they just get stuck in this playpen.
Not what they bought it for.
No, not at all. But the top tool that she's come at us with, she put, hey guys, I'm listening to the Living Off Ham Sandwich episode with Joe and Lex. And we mentioned meconium poo, didn't we?
Yes,
The
we did.
really sticky
Yeah.
first poo. So this is a top tool if you are expecting anytime soon. It says, I've got a tip about getting the meconium poop off the skin. Vaseline. If you get Vaseline on the skin, it helps the meconium not stick to the baby's butt. It says, now I know this tip won't help Joe and Lex. but it will help other new parents. So I'm thinking, does the Vaseline just go on first?
But does it have to be there?
Does it have to be there ready and waiting?
Or is it like you can apply it on top
So,
and then you smear Vaseline over poo?
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's not good. So you'd have to wear gloves. I'm guessing it is when you've had a baby, just quickly stick some Vaseline on them.
Yeah.
What we need to do is find listeners expecting twins and do one on one twin.
An experiment.
We need an experiment.
That'd be amazing.
Parenting tools experiment. So if you're expecting twins and you are willing to let us
know. We'll buy the Vaseline.
My mum and dad used to put a tin of Vaseline in my stocking at Christmas. Yeah. I suffer with chapped lips. I'm a chapped lip sufferer.
I think my lips started to hurt as soon as you said that.
Yeah. Especially around this time.
Because
Because I've got bad sinuses. I am a mouth breather. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I've got bad sinuses, breathe out my mouth, and it dries my lips
Does
out.
that mean you snore a lot?
No. Well, Len would probably disagree.
So that's something I learned the other week. Random thing I think I learned. Mouth breathers tend to snore more.
See, I breathe heavily, but she tells me I snore, but never once has she got me recorded. Now, if you complain about your partner snoring, you will definitely have a video or recording of them snoring. It's not surfaced.
Oh, I snore only recently because I've been sleeping more on my back because child in the bed.
Yep.
But the worst thing is I'm falling asleep and I can hear myself snoring before I'm fully out.
Wake yourself up.
Yeah, it's horrible.
With the snore.
Yep.
And now you're a snorer.
That is now my identity.
Snorer Jones. But yeah, I'll say to my wife, do you know, I can feel when she's falling asleep. We're watching a film or something, there's just she weighs the same, but she weighs differently. There's just it's different.
Yeah.
And I'll go, are you falling asleep? She'll go, no. I'm like, you're snoring. No, I don't snore. I'm like, you are snoring. But no, she's never, she throws the accusation around, but I've never seen the evidence. And I've got another top tool. So again, following Daisy's episode where we talked about reducing screen time before bed.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure at what time that's from. I need to message Daisy and say, what kind of time do you recommend we turn the screen off from? But one thing we've been doing with my little boy is jigsaw puzzles.
Yes.
It's a really calming activity to do. There's no screen. Old school, doing a jigsaw.
Yeah.
But he loves it. He loves doing the jigsaw. He loves it when we all do it together as well. So that's one that's been working for us.
And here's a top tool on top of that tool.
Oh my life, we're stacking them.
Sandwich bags
Sandwich bags.
for jigsaw puzzles. Because kids' puzzles are so small.
Yeah.
But usually you get 3 in one box.
Yep.
Sandwich bags. Keeps them separate.
Here's another top tool.
Come on.
On top of the top tool.
There's a 4-story high
Yeah.
tip.
It's a rack.
Tip rack.
So his puzzles, again, 4 in 1. What we've done is we've numbered the back.
Oh, that's clever.
So say which one do you want to do? Say, the number 3s. Right, turn them round. Gets all the number 3s out.
That's just... It sounds like common sense now.
It's my wife. Once again, she's brilliant. So thank you, Millard.
Joe, we've had a message from a listener on Instagram.
I believe you.
Besides that, I've not actually read this message.
So this was, you remember Daniel with the teams?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel's back. He's been back on.
So I'm experiencing this message for the first time as well.
Love it. You want me to read it?
Yeah, you read it. I'll experience it better through my ears. Like the listeners.
So Daniel said, thanks for the feature, lads. Really enjoyed the talk around it. I've got a new daddy issue and it's got me thinking. Right now, Claire is up in the night once at around 2 a.m. and will not go back to sleep unless we're in the room with her and touching her. So I've been sleeping on the floor next to her crib with my fingers through the bars wrapped around hers. I'll sleep there for a couple of hours, but then wake up and sneak out. But it's got me wondering, what are the craziest things you or others you know have had to do to get your kid to sleep? Cheers, and thanks for all the great content. Keep it up. That's rough, isn't it?
That's got to be uncomfortable on the wrists.
Just hand in hand.
Because when you sleep, you don't stay still, do you? So you got to be moving. And if it's between bars, just the constant clattering. Whoa.
Yeah. That's one of those ones where, like, do you know when I've said before, you expect to lose sleep, but you don't expect that.
Yeah. I've heard that one many times as well. A lot of people having to like hold hands or face touching to keep their kids asleep, and like the journey to get away from that, it's just horrid. You just have to edge further and further away.
Yeah.
What's the worst? I remember when Noah was really young, she had really bad reflux, and we thought it was to do with just general reflux. It turns out it was all her allergies. We didn't know that at the time, but we couldn't lie her down because she would just throw up constantly or keep herself up from just being uncomfortable. And so I used to have to hold her all night, like literally a full 8-hour shift, just holding her. And so me and my wife used to take it in turns. And what I had done is I had devised a track in the room that I would follow.
Oh, I remember you saying this.
I'd do multiple laps, but it was like a choreographed dance as well. We'd have to rock and shake and move at the same time. It's so weird that I got to like a weird little trance-like state.
Just get my steps up. Yeah, it is funny what you do, isn't it? And what like little quirks you figure out work and what don't. Can't remember too much about my son. It seems a long time ago now. I remember like literally day 2, we couldn't get him to sleep, and I was in his room holding it, trying to like get my wife to have some rest. So I went into his bedroom that you don't use for the first 7 months or whatever it is, and I just lay him down on his cot, and he went to sleep. And I was thinking, this is brilliant. So I put the monitor quite close to him because at that age they don't move, they don't grab anything. It was quite safe to put it there. Went back into bed. She went, where is he? He's on his bed. And like we'd been trying for hours to get him to settle. I put him down and he settled. She went, you can't do that. I says, well, he's settled. Let's just get some sleep. He's fine. It's there. She wasn't having it. Well, she wasn't having it at all. So brought him back in and then he wouldn't settle. So I was thinking, well, I think I'd have left him there, or like maybe gone and slept on the floor or something. I don't know. But with my daughter, and I mentioned on last week's episode about sleep regression, when she learnt to roll, things got very difficult because she would just lie down, roll over, and then she wouldn't fall asleep. So what we did, we'd bring her pushchair into the living room, and we'd put her in the pushchair with the straps on so she couldn't roll. So she'd cry for about 30 seconds. And I know that sounds a bit cruel, like you're strapping her down, but it wasn't. It's the pushchair where she's used to being in it. Yeah. She'd cry for about 30 seconds, go to sleep, and then we'd lift her up, take her upstairs, and it worked a treat. It actually worked.
It's genius.
Yeah, and then from there it was like, right, she's used to going to sleep in the cot. Like she'd be asleep in the cot. So now we need to get her used to going to sleep in the cot, and it worked.
Wow, it's funny because like, so my daughter's 2.5, and it's now like our routine for sleep is now drilled into her so hard that she can't do it any other way, and so she has 2 stories. And you have to sit in a certain way on her bed with her. And after the 2 stories, my wife will then tell her a made-up story, say a little prayer, and then now my wife, as you'll probably be doing it right now as we speak, has to sit in her room until she falls asleep in the corner.
Have you tried the tip that Daisy mentioned?
We've tried all the tips. So we're actually on a progression. So any sort of sleep training, or even if it's not just sleep training, just trying to progress, there's like different stages. And so this has progressed from sleeping on the floor next to her, like holding her hand.
Right, I'm with you.
Now to being in the corner of the room on a chair. But to the point where Noah will go, oh, mummy, you have to sit on the chair so I can sleep.
Okay, yeah.
So the next phase is then get out the room.
I am sat on the chair. I'm downstairs.
Yeah, but that's what's currently happening right now. So, and I think that's just funny.
Process.
Yeah.
Gotta trust the process.
It's a lot of podcast timing.
Another one that's just come to mind, and when I say we stumbled upon this by accident, I mean we stumbled upon this by accident. So my little girl, when she was quite young, she just wouldn't settle unless we were like holding her, and it was one night. Do you know the muslin cloths?
Yeah.
one of those things that you don't know about till you're a parent.
Yep.
Then they
Now
go
they're
everywhere. Yep. In your pocket, on your shoulder, everywhere. She said, "Oh, can you throw me that muslin?" And my little girl's in bed crying, so I threw it to my wife, and it landed on Mila's head, and she went to sleep. And I mean, instantly, like it was like a switch.
Yeah.
So we started to implement the muslin on the head in a safe way. So
That's brilliant.
So again, this was at an age where she couldn't roll, she couldn't
Yeah.
grab. So what we'd do is just put the muslin like over her eyes, and she'd just fall asleep, or like over kind of when you're holding her over your shoulder.
Yeah.
To the point where we went out one day and my dad was babysitting, and he phoned me. He said, "I'm really sorry to phone you, but she just won't stop. But she's tired." He said, "You can tell she's tired. You can tell she wants to sleep, but she can't go to sleep." I said, "Dad, get a muslin, put it on her head." He went, "What?" He said, "Get a muslin, put it on her head." I'm not joking. 45 seconds later, he texts me saying she's asleep.
That's brilliant.
It works so well until she could grab, and then she pull it off. And then, so it worked for a few months.
That is brilliant.
Got to do what you got to do.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for that message.
Well, we've got another message, which is a bit of a deep bit.
Ooh.
So this is from
dive.
friend of the show, Calum,
Calum.
and we could talk for a long time about this. So I think we need to be mindful of the time. Calum's question is, what challenges will kids face today that we didn't, and how as parents can we help them? Jeez. I think there's a really short answer of, I don't know.
And we can't.
Yeah, like we didn't go through it, so I don't know how to support them. But we've touched on this previously.
This is one of those questions that can keep you up at night if you spend too long on it.
The world is a mess,
Yeah.
and I feel sorry for our kids.
I mean,
A little bit.
even just basically, like, we didn't grow up with iPhones and
No.
just the level of technology that we have now and reliance on technology that we have now.
Yeah.
Like, even us, we're completely reliant on it. That was not really a thing when I was growing up. And also, have you seen like all this AI stuff that's been coming out?
Yeah.
Like, the way that things are progressing in the next 10 years, like, it's going to be a completely different world. And I already resigned myself to the fact I'm going to be that old dad that doesn't really know what's going on. I will try my best.
Yeah.
But technology is already running away from me. But even just that stuff at school, and like, kids can be harsh, and I had quite a fairly good time at school, but I know it can be really difficult for kids, and there's not really an easy solution. That's tough anyway. And so, in the same way that you'd respond to those situations, you just got to do your best, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I've said this before, like social media and technology, kind of grown up in the 90s without it, but
Yeah.
developing as a teenager with it, like I really enjoyed that. But like cyberbullying and stuff wasn't really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you wanted to talk to someone, it would be on MSN, and they had to add you and accept you. If you didn't like what someone was saying, you just block them.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't so relentless and as intense as it is now. But will our kids have that? There'll be something else going on.
That's the thing. It'll be something completely different.
Something completely different that, you know, I can't even imagine what it will be.
And it's the things that concern me are more about like helping my daughter understand that what goes online will forever be there. And that's not even in the concept of like photos or anything, just information. Like even Snapchat, all of that information, somebody has it somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can't erase that. Like that's something that our generations had to learn, and still most of us don't know that.
Yeah.
But just the permanency of actually online is not autonomous, and there's so much danger in that. But also, you don't always have to be scared of it. How to use it right? Honestly, it's a minefield.
Yeah.
But yes, social media is a big one, and like bullying, just in any sense, I don't know how parents deal with that anyway.
Yeah.
To then add a whole other concept to it. Oh No idea.
I think that's one thing that really worries me about doing this.
Yeah.
I've said this to you before, like, if kids at school get hold of this and they're like, oh, your dad said this about, you doing a poo in the bath, and they like just use it, that really freaks me out. And it like, every now and again I'll be sleeping and you wake up, to go to the toilet, and then I just think something you've said on the pod's going to get one of your kids in trouble. I just think, dear me. And that, it's fine, and I speak to people about it, and they're like, no, you'll be okay. But that worries me. It worries me about, like you said, it's there. And
I think for me, it's again, like how do you raise your kids to be like resilient? Because like obviously that's that phrase that we used to hear: "Sticks and stones will break my bones, words never hurt me." Like completely wrong.
Yep.
However, how do you instill what that was trying to communicate, but in a better way? That words that other people throw at you don't define you, but actually acknowledging they can hurt, it can be painful, but how to build resilience, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, and I often have this like inner dialogue in my own head, like with my daughter, of not wanting to protect her from everything because she's got to grow up. Even the thing like last week with the soft play, like you just got to stand back sometimes and just let things happen, so like she can learn and develop and like build that like resilience around it. But I don't know the right way to do that, obviously, in the future.
Yeah.
Like how much do you just let them learn things and like build that resilience to actually stepping in and protecting them all the time? Because that isn't always the best thing for them long term, but it definitely is sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So tough,
mate. It's even things like knife crime.
Oh, mate.
Like, you see a group of kids now, and this is going to sound very stereotypical, but like the way that it's portrayed in the media and the news and stuff, you think there's a very good chance someone has got a knife or something. And I just think, when our kids grow up, like, how much worse is it going to be? Because it's bad now from when I was a teenager, and then it could cycle itself out in 10 years, and everyone realizes actually this is stupid. And
that's the thing, you just don't know, do you? I think what's reassuring in a very strange way, like I do a lot of like with teenagers, like run youth groups and stuff like that. Most of the parents don't know like what their kids are getting up to in schools and stuff, but the majority of them are really good parents.
Yeah.
And they can help without knowing the inner details of all the dangers that they're facing, which is still kind of weirdly reassuring. Like they don't know everything that their kids are actually getting up to, but they're still being really good parents and like helping them navigate life and issues.
Yeah. I listened to a clip the other day. I think the guy's called Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how a lot of things that kids and teenagers will go through is cyclical in its phases. But now we live in a society that reinforces all the anxieties and everything they go through. It's not, wait it out and just love your kids and it'll be fine. It's actually all the voices and all the media and all the social media is just reinforcing everything that they start to doubt and believe about themselves. And that's why there's more anxiety with teenagers and depression and stuff.
Yeah.
It's because rather than it just being, it's not like making light of their situation, it's supporting them through it.
Yeah.
When you're feeling down about yourself and then all you're hearing from other people is, you should feel down about yourself, that takes you deeper. And stuff like that is challenges that we didn't have growing up.
It's fascinating. Like I always chat to parents who've got like older kids, like how do they monitor and help their kids with their phones or devices or stuff like that, because that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, but to do it in a way which isn't more damaging to their kids wanting to go do it all behind their back. It's like, how do you do that well, where you're guarding them from enough, but you're also having the open dialogue that they can understand and boundaries that they honestly, if anyone knows.
That's the thing, I don't know. Because we're looking into the future, nobody knows.
Yeah.
But man, I think a big thing for me is like, try not to worry. And it's going to sound very cliche, but just love them.
Yeah.
And have them know that they're loved and they're safe, and whatever it is comes up, I'm going to be there to help them through it as best I can.
I think that's the main thing, isn't it?
But my big worry is I'm not the cause of it. Like,
But it's even now, like a genuine tip for people. Like even now, if your kids are using your phones or iPads, there are parental controls that you can set up, and genuinely get on YouTube, watch a tutorial, because like there's so many stuff. Even on like the YouTube Kids app, there's avenues that they can find themselves which aren't like designed for them to watch.
Yeah.
And so like just research, try and find out like what are the tools that are currently available, which I try to, and it's developing so quickly that it's hard.
Oh, mate, it's mad. But yeah, do you know what, Callum? That's a great question. It's a great talking point.
Thanks for not getting me any sleep tonight.
Thanks for the stress, Callum. So the last thing comes from, once again, friend of the pod, Ma. And we posted a clip about baby wipes and how we can't get them out one at a time. Yeah. And so Mark sent us this, and it's an app. And if you like data and stats, you'll love this, that tells you can track how many times your baby's pooed, how many bottles they've had, and all that kind of stuff. I was like, this is cool. We've probably missed the boat on it, but it's called Huckleberry. So on the screenshot Mark sent me, his baby went to sleep 397 times between October and December, slept for over 1,000 hours, had 601 bottles, changed 405 nappies between October and December. And they gained 3.9 pounds.
That's amazing. We used to use an app like that because like when they're in newborn phase, like you can forget how much have they eaten, how much have they drank. So just put it on an app. We used to think there's loads of them on the App Store.
Yeah.
So helpful. Love that.
Huckleberry, check it out if you love the baby stats.
Love the baby stats. I would like to know how many nappies I've gone through. Oh. Not me personally.
A few more after the chat from Callum.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks so much for listening. If you listen on podcasts or wherever you're listening, please do consider leaving us a review and a rating if it's good.
Yeah. And if you don't follow us on social media, please do. Just because it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you soon.